is announced, I invite you to make your way and up onto the stage from my right, your left, and make your way towards the podium as I introduce you, and then we'll give you a few moments for your remarks. It is my pleasure to recognize Coach Gary Fisher. Gary is a 1966 graduate from Mount Union and majored in history. In the summer of 1967, Gary Fisher returned to his alma mater as the assistant basketball coach and the head soccer coach. Coach Fisher, by his own admission, knew nothing at all about the game of soccer. Yet in just 2 seasons, he produced Mount Union Soccer's first winning record. He went on to post an overall record of 72, 30, and 6, and an OAC record of 42, 16, and 1. He has the highest winning percentage of anyone who has coached men's soccer for more than 1 season. But more important and enduring than the wins and losses is Coach Fisher's contribution to Mount Union soccer as a whole. From humble beginnings, Coach Fisher built a first-class Division III soccer program and instilled in it a tradition of winning. Currently, Gary is retired and resides in Sugar Creek, Ohio, with his wife, Virginia. They have 1 daughter, Jennifer, a son-in-law, Wes, and 2 grandchildren, Emily and Ryan. It is my honor to induct into the M Club Hall of Fame Coach Gary Fisher.
They said the order of appearance was by age. I want to congratulate the other Hall of Famers tonight. Well, I find it exciting to know your story. It's been a long time since I've been at Mount Union. Back then, Don Montgomery, Bruce Hickson, Harry Patas, and Larry Karras, they were just students chasing co-eds. In my opinion, there's no place for narcissism in sports. I think this award is just a chance for me to identify my many blessings. My thanks to my wife, Virginia, and my family, he mentioned, who've come all the way from Arizona. Emily, my granddaughter, is only 8 and playing some great basketball. Thanks for Skype. I was born here in Alliance. I grew up on a farm just 7 miles from here. I drove a tractor. I fed pigs. I hauled manure. But my parents and my grandparents taught me a great lesson, the value of hard work. I think it's there that I loved and felt that I hated losing more than I loved winning. I just hated to lose. I want to thank my 1966 basketball teammates. We were conference champs. It was an inside look at how teams win. After my graduation, I was invited by Coach Terry Pearson to become the assistant basketball coach here. And part of that job was to be a soccer coach. Now, I'd never seen a soccer game before. Okay, if we had that much land on the farm, we would have planted something on it. 4 years later, I became the head basketball coach. Now, to give you an idea of that job, the Mount soccer team is playing tonight, and the basketball team is going to play a game on November 6th, which means you had to have some great assistant coaches, and I did. I'm thankful that I got a chance to coach alongside of 2 of Mount's greatest coaches, Ken Wable and Jim Wuske. It was just so much I learned from them. I've coached hundreds of players, and it's not right to mention any one of those, because to me they were all important. Whether they were players, substitutes, managers, trainers, they were all important to me. I do want to take a moment from time to time where we just pause. We've done this already, but we pause that some of the players have already gone to heaven. If we just pause. I am blessed to have some players here, and even some from Malone College where I coached for a couple of years. So I want to take a time now and ask all the players that I've coached that are here tonight, would you please stand? I'm watching you. Now, by the way, after this is over, we'll meet at the track to see what kind of shape you guys are in. I'm not kidding. And finally, let's consider your story. There's one thing in everyone's life that's consistent, and I've learned this. It doesn't matter if you live in the United States or in another country. You live in a large city, a suburb, or a rural community. It doesn't matter if you have many siblings, or an only child, or an orphan. If you have many friends or none. It doesn't matter if you graduated from college or not, wear business clothes or a t-shirt, whether you attend a church or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're tall or short, a marathon runner, or if you're in a wheelchair. But some will say, we're too different. How could any one thing be the same in everyone's life? As you reflect on your story, one fact will always remain: with every step, event, success, failure, happiness, sadness, and every breath you've taken in your life, there's one common thread. Jesus Christ was there all the time. Not only was he there during every past second of your life, he is still there today, and he'll be there every day of your life. Again, thank you. And may God bless you all and all those you love.
It is my pleasure to recognize Willie Joffreyon, men's track and field. Willie, a 1979 graduate, is a native of Cleveland, Ohio, and a graduate of Warrensville Heights High School. He was a two-time All-American in the 4x400 meter relay, placing second in 1975 and third in 1978. He was also part of a 1975 4x400 relay team that won the OAC title. Willie was co-captain and co-MVP of the 1978 Triple Crown team. While at Mount Union, Willie studied sociology. He is currently employed by Nick Mayer Ford and Lincoln as a sales and leasing executive and part owner of WD Trucking. Willie and his wife Diane have 6 sons: Frederick D. Brown Jr., Marzell L. Brown, Willie R. McGuire, Dante R. Joffreyon, Ryan C. Lawrence, Daniel R. Lloyd, 9 grandchildren: Shakira Brown, Willie R. McGuire Jr., Lauren Brown, Quincy Brown, Isaac Joffreyon, Shakira Lampkin, Ethan Joffreyon, Joanna Joffreyon, Jada Joffreyon, and 1 great-grandchild, Jakir Brown. Willie and Diane reside in Cleveland, Ohio. It is my honor to induct into the M Club Hall of Fame Willie Joffreyon for men's track and field. Congratulations, Willie. I hope I didn't put your names.
All right, so anyway, I was dedicating this night to my family, okay? So he just about announced everybody. So, but anyway, first giving honor to God, who's the head of my life, okay? The head of my family. My mom, she's a God-fearing woman. We came up in the church. That's how we was raised. And I love her. Love you. To the M Club and its associates, to the Hall of Fame and the Selection Committee, to the class of 2020, as well as the fellow inductees for 2021. I would like to personally congratulate you and your families. To my dad, we miss you. We miss you. I know you're here. I know you're here. I love you. To my brothers Ronald Joffreyon and his wife, Denise Joffreyon, Reginald Joffreyon and his wife, Barbara Joffreyon. To my sister Renee Harbor and her husband, William Harbor. To my sons, once again, Willie McGuire and his daughter-in-law, Rochelle McGuire, Dante Joffreyon and my daughter-in-law, Sunita Joffreyon, Ryan Lawrence, Daniel Lloyd, Frederick Brown, Marcel Brown, and my daughter-in-law, Karen Brown. And to my grandkids, Jakira, Willie, Lauren, Quincy, Shakir, Isaac, Ethan, Joanna, Jada Rose, all you guys call me Papa. I love you. And to my only grandson, Jakir. Last but not least, I save the best for last. That's my loving wife, Diane. I love you. You're my friend, my confidant. You're the one that holds this family together. I stand here humble and overwhelmed. You know, it's been a long time. I've always had my union in my heart. Always will. And I had an opportunity to come to Mount. They had a great team in 1974. And Mike Williams, the late Mike Williams, was leaving. And the great Chuck Larsu mentored me, okay? And we went on to do some great things. I made All-American as a freshman, ran with some great guys. Clint Alguire, Mill Snodgrass, Jim Ansbury, Pat Eaton, Jim Freund, Rich Kemp, Dave Ludwig, you know, all those guys were great. They taught me great work ethic. They taught me how to be disciplined. And when we went to meets, we were ready. And you got what you put into it. If you worked hard, you were rewarded. If you didn't put the work in, it didn't happen. But what that did was groom me for a group of guys that came in with the 78 squad, the Triple Crown squad, okay? And we instilled that same work ethic. We went on to do some great things. I competed with some great guys, Claude Chirillo, Dwayne Brandon, Reggie Edwards, Kenny John, Don Landon, Vic Smith, Tom McIntyre. It was just a great team, and I really love you guys. And none of this would have been possible. I was coached by Jim Whiskey. He was a hell of a man. Okay, that's all I can tell you, man. He was a hell of a man. I mean, he didn't say a whole lot of words. You knew exactly what you were supposed to do, and you did your job. You know, if there's anything, if you had a problem, you can go to him, talk to him. And Askey, it was Whiskey that saved my life, because I left school for a quarter, and I lost a good friend. And I called Coach, and I asked him, could I come back to school? And I had a buddy that I wanted to bring back with me. His name was Reggie Edwards. He's not here tonight, but Coach got us both back in school, got us off the streets of Cleveland, came back, and I finished up and I graduated. Reggie went on to make All-American, and I made All-American again. And I want to thank you guys for that, okay? I do. I want to thank you. And I want to thank my family for being here. Thank you. Okay.
It is my pleasure to recognize Coach Deanne Knoblock. Deanne was head women's basketball coach for 11 years at Mount Union. Her accomplishments include OAC champions in 1998, OAC Coach of the Year in 1998, and Ohio Coach of the Year in 1998. Deanne made it to the NCAA tournament 3 times, the Sweet 16 in 1995, the Final Four, national runners-up in 1996, and the Final Four, 3rd place nationally in 1998. She also recruited and coached the 1998 NCAA Division III National Player of the Year, Susie Vennett. Deanne received a Bachelor of Science from Bowling Green State University and a PhD from The Ohio State University. She is currently a professor in the Education Department at Otterbein University. It is my honor to induct Coach Deanne Knoblock into the M Club Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Coach.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, what an honor. I first of all also want to congratulate everybody else who is so honored tonight. So I'm a bit of a pack rat, and I had this T-shirt, and I have it hanging up in my exercise room, and it's the T-shirt that meant so much, and I'm going to talk about journeys here in a minute, that meant so much because this was the first OAC championship for women's basketball at Mount Union. And on the back of it, and this is the important part, it says together. And that was our rallying cry that entire year and essentially my entire career here at Mount Union. So when I say together, and I'm up here getting this honor, but this was a team effort. So I want to thank all of my wonderful, hardworking assistant coaches throughout the year, and I want to thank all my wonderful, hardworking players throughout the years. So I have this thing that I think the journey is better than the destination. So I have to tell 2 stories, a story from my first year and a story from my last year here at Mount Union. It really kind of illustrates how far we came and how the journey is wonderful. So my first year, and Amy, I hope you're smiling because you know this one. So my first year, we weren't very good here at Mount Union, and we're playing at Marietta, and Marietta's really good, but we were close. It was like close, and I thought we were going to win. But we didn't. We didn't win very often that first year. So we didn't win. So afterwards, I'm trying to figure out with my assistant coaches what we're going to say to the team, and the team's in the locker room. And I'm so distraught that I'm banging my head like I can't believe we didn't win that game. And I thought it was a wall, but it was a door. So this custodian woman who speaks only Spanish comes out and is trying to ask me, what's the matter? Did I want something? And I had to try to explain that no, I wasn't knocking. I was banging my head against the wall because we had another loss. So then 11 years, and we just got better and better and better. And the journey is indeed better than the destination. So we just worked and got better and better and better. So my last year, and it's Marietta, this is a true story, I'm not making this up. So it's Marietta again. We're really good. This was in 1998. We made it to the Final Four. We only lost 3 games the whole entire year. So Susie, are you laughing? Because you know what this story is. So Susie Vennett was really fun to watch, and like people would come to right, Larry? Am I right? Right. So people would come to the games. Plus, I didn't really have a backup point guard, so I didn't want to take Susie out of the games because things fell apart. So we're up. We were good at this point, so we're crushing Marietta. But I didn't want to take Susie out. I'm like, all right, I should take her out. But then, so we have the ball out of bounds underneath our own basket, and we have this thing called the butt play. And the butt play is when the defender guarding the ball turns around, Susie, who takes the ball out, passes the ball in bounds, automatically hits it off the kid's butt, picks it up and puts it in for a layup. So she does the butt play against Marietta when we're up by, 20, 25 points. I was mortified. I took Susie out of the game right away. So the next day, I have to call the Marietta coach and apologize because, A, I didn't mean to rub it in, and and then be, it was so, do you see, again, perfect bookends of my career, of those 11 years at Mount Union. And indeed, the journey is better than the destination. I think I appreciated so much the getting better, the improvement, the work that it took, that when we actually got good, I appreciated that so much more because of the trials and the tribulations and the work that we had to put in. So, embrace the journey, and I certainly did, and I thank all of the players and coaches that were just with me and made it truly one of the best journeys of my life. Thank you.
It is my pleasure to recognize Coach Kathy Lavry. As the men's and women's swimming and diving coach, Kathy coached a 5-time Swimmer of the Year in the OAC, a 3-time Diver of the Year OAC, received over 110 OAC conference champions, and coached a 3-time national champion. Kathy received Level 4 coaching credentials and was a 7-time OAC Coach of the Year. Kathy received an undergraduate degree in education from Akron University. She is currently a volunteer for First Tee Faith Family Church Deliverance House. Kathy and her husband, Judge Robert Lavery, reside in Alliance, Ohio, and have 2 daughters, Lindsay Lavery Bocci, I hope I pronounced that correctly, and Laura Lavery Boyd. It is my honor to induct into the M Club Hall of Fame Coach Kathy Lavry. I hope I didn't botch that name up too good.
Who cares? Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to see everybody with clothes on. I usually see people in bathing suits, and they're sopping wet. So this is a treat for me. Congratulations to all the other inductees in my class. It really is an honor. And I'd like to tell one quick story about Duke Barrett, since I'm being inducted by the M Club. So 24 years ago, Duke came to see me, and he said, "Hey, Kathy, I need your help." "I'll be right over, Duke." "No, not that kind of help," he said. He said, "I'm part of the Good Old Boys Club, and the Good Old Boys Club is doing well, but I sense there's some women that need to be inducted." So I went to see Larry Karras right away, and he's a man of many words, and he said, "Pick the right one." So the pressure was on me, and it took 8 months to find the person that we thought should be inducted, and Duke and I went back and forth. And I was so honored when Vera Bird, who was a student here in 1979 and graduated in 83, she was an All-American in track in the hurdles. She was in 5th place. And so it was my honor to be here that day when Duke Barrett kind of was a trailblazer for me and for Dee, that women should be in the M Club also. So thank you, Duke. I'd also like to say that I was just a mom. What was wrong with being a mom? And Larry Karras called me in 1991, and he said, "Hey, Kathy." "Hi, Larry." He said, "I need a swim coach." "Uh-oh," I said. And he said, "Hey, it's just part-time, women, men, a little bit of recruiting, Kathy." "Part-time?" I'm like, "Okay, except Larry, I only know about high school." He said, "Don't worry, Mount Union staff will help you." And true to his word, they did. They taught me about recruiting. They taught me about budgeting. They taught me about traveling. But what they really taught me about was hard work. I thought I knew how to work hard, but I really didn't until I became part of the staff at Mount Union. So we worked our way up. We learned to be conference champs. And as we climbed to Etta Singleton being a national champ 3 times, I got to go to the Olympic trials. That's kind of the summit for swimming. And so I'm so proud that I got to be in the stands and watch a Mount Union sprinter at the Olympic trials. But in truth, the happiest moments and the biggest heartaches in my life were at those conference championships when it's the grit and the grind. It's happiness and heartache. It's so much hard work for 3 days, AM and PM, trying to win a conference title for this school. Those moments are the ones that I'll remember. In clothing, I'd like to thank my husband. Bob was there for all those conference meets, driving in snowstorms. And yes, there were some nice days. I'd like to thank my daughters, Laura, who was just 4, and Lindsay was only 6 when I started. They were forced to follow my career all the way up until they got out of college. What godly women they are. And I'm very grateful and lucky to be their mom. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for giving me the opportunity. I have been blessed. Thank you very much.
It is my pleasure to recognize Coach Don Montgomery. Don is a 1977 graduate of Mount Union. He was defensive coordinator for Mount Union for 7 national titles, Ohio Athletic Conference Assistant Coach of the Year in 1998, American Football Coaches Division III Assistant Coach of the Year in 1999, received 9 Ohio Conference Wrestling Championships, the OAC Coach of the Year 7 times, and was inducted into the National Wrestling Coaches Hall of Fame in 2010. Don received a Bachelor of Arts in Health, Physical Education, and Sociology. He is currently the Director of Advancement for the University of Mount Union. Don is married to Teresa, and they have 4 children, daughter Anne Marie Kish, a 2002 alum, who is married to her husband Scott, son Joe Montgomery, a 2005 alum, married to wife Nikki, and a daughter Caitlin Collini, married to her husband Frank, daughter Kara and her fiance John Livestrom, her fiance John are live streaming this from their home in Virginia. Pardon me. He wrote that out by hand. I had a hard time with his handwriting. He is the proud grandfather to Chloe, Peyton, Kenzie, and Grayson. Don and Teresa currently reside in Alliance, Ohio. It is my honor to induct into the M Club Hall of Fame Coach Don Montgomery. I looked at it and I thought it was his last name.
I think I lost my speech. Well, I found it, Harry. I've always learned that coming straight from the heart is the best way to do it, but, to keep myself on track, I needed to, at least write down some notes. First of all, congratulations to all of the award winners, special award winners, and inductees this evening. It's definitely a peak experience in my life, and I imagine it is for yours as well. I'd like to also take the opportunity to thank the selection committee. And I'd like to recognize my family, who takes up the whole third row down there, and thank them for, some of them came all the way from Baltimore and Washington, D.C., for this event, and means a great deal to me. You've made a great effort. My wife Teresa's sister Barbara is here, and Bridget, who is a Mount Union graduate, and her husband Jamie, and my niece Claire, who I'm recruiting to play lacrosse here. So their support of me during my career has been never-ending, whether it was here, playing football, coaching wrestling, coaching football down at Emory and Henry. Their support has always been there, and I really appreciate that. I also like to recognize and thank my mom, who couldn't be here tonight, and my father, who passed away in 1993. because they did a lot and they followed everything that I did. But most of all, I'd like to thank my wife for 42 years. I can't imagine that she stayed with me through all the things that I put her through with, coaching. But she's been my confidant and influenced me in my drive to coach and care for our family in so many ways. I could never have done anything without her. She did a great job raising our children when I couldn't be there. And as anybody that's coached knows, it is a great deal of time away. And so anyhow, Thursday night I'm sitting out on my deck, which is my favorite place to go. And it's beautiful. It looks out over the pool, and then the moon was coming out. I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say tonight. And it just hit me how lucky I am, how blessed I am, how God has worked in my life through everything. From high school, going to Fellowship of Christian Athletes camp with my high school coach, who we did a memorial service for him last weekend. I had a chance to go back. God has a way of bringing people into your life that change you forever. And I'd just like to recognize a couple of those. When I came here as a freshman, I had a roommate by the name of Larry Lamp. I know Coach Karras, you know him. Larry Lamp was from Rocky River, Ohio. Big, tall, red-headed guy, had a knee injury, ended up, being a graduate assistant. But he wouldn't let me leave. I had decided after my first week of camp, I don't know if anybody really ever knows that, but after my first week of camp, I went home and didn't tell anybody, left my notebook on the table there, and Larry called me. He said, what are you doing? We were allowed to go home, but I wasn't coming back. My dad told me, where are you staying? It really did. I was an only child, and you think, you're not living here. No quitter lives here. So Larry Lamp was a guy that changed my life. Take it along a little bit further, my big brother in fraternity, Tim Crew, also changed my life because he was constantly encouraging me during the time. As you can see, I'm not a very tall guy and not very big, but neither was Tim. And he was starting on our football team, and that was my life's goal, is to play. But so he said, I've never seen anybody quit that really wants to play. So, then my wife, Teresa, after coming back here to Mount Union and experiencing some pretty tough wrestling seasons as we first started out, I hadn't wrestled in college. I didn't wrestle since 9th grade, and all of a sudden I find myself the head wrestling coach. And I was ready to hang that up, and she sent me a little poem about don't quit. You remember that? And to this day, I would, always tell my players, never, ever, ever, ever give up, because you never know what's going to be around the next corner. And then Coach Wable, what a huge difference he made in my life. He was like a second father. And then I had great mentors. I was very lucky. I had great mentors in my life. And, Coach Karras, you and Coach Wable molded me as a man and taught me organization, accountability, responsibility, humility, paying attention to detail. Not ever could we ever get comfortable. Comfort was, going backwards, always being on time, always working towards a common goal. And, when you made me the defensive coordinator in 1986, that was the greatest compliment you've ever given me. To end, I would just say I stand here because of all the young men that I had a chance to work with. 2 of them are getting inducted tonight. 1 of them got inducted last night. It's amazing how good of a coach you can be whenever you have great football players or great athletes and then great wrestlers. They make you look good, and I appreciate that. And God bless you all. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure to recognize Jesse Pearson for football. Jesse is a 2001 graduate who started at Will linebacker in 1999 and became the first Mount Union defensive player to score touchdowns in back-to-back games. He scored 5 touchdowns in 4 games during the 1999 season and was named All-Conference. In 2000, Jesse was nominated captain and helped lead the Purple Raiders to their 5th national championship. At the end of the season, he was voted first team All-Conference, the recipient of the Bill Edwards Award as the OAC's top linebacker, and made numerous All-American teams. Jesse studied sports management at Mount Union and is currently a web developer for Groundworks companies. He resides in Columbus, Ohio. It is my honor to induct into the M Club Hall of Fame Jesse Pearson for football.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you very much. Rings are nice. I just wrote a few notes down, but all of this has brought back so many memories, I haven't given a speech of this magnitude since, exactly 20 years and 4 months ago, right over there. And I was thinking, I was like, I remember the night before the banquet 20 years ago. Sorry, this is emotional for me. It's been a long time since I've been here. And I was like, I'm going to be nervous tomorrow, so I had to resort to an old tactic to try to make yourself feel comfortable, when you're giving a speech. And my mom was like, this was 20 years ago. She's like, just, imagine everybody in the crowd in their underwear. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's a great idea. And I opened that up with my speech 20 plus years ago, but then I remembered that Coach Felsbar was writing close to the front aisle. And I was like, yeah, I don't really want to envision that. I was kidding, Coach, wherever you are out there. Hey, back there. All right. So, yeah, this is, God, it's been a long time, Last night before I left to come up here, my mom asked me, she's like, so, how do you feel about tomorrow? And I was like, it's been so long, and I haven't been up here at campus for 15 years maybe, and I was like, it's been so long, I just have like mixed feelings about it. And she's like, yeah, I understand. She's encouraging me though. She's like, it's a great thing, it's a great honor. And, you'll do great. And I was like, yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. So then we got up here today and walking into the stadium, she's like, I want you to just take a second and just make sure that this whole day is just all about you. Every day or everything that you receive today, just take it all in, And I was like, okay, I can do that. So after the game, we went back to the hotel and I jotted down just a few notes. And I guess the first thing I thought of was, how I got here. Because my closest friends know, I was a JUCO transfer. I came from Scottsdale Community College in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I remember I got one letter from Mount Union in high school. And I was like, well, I can't go to a 4-year right out of high school because I have to get my grades up. Right? So I had some friends that were going out west to try to get scholarships and get their grades up. So I was like, okay, I'll go with you guys. I'll do the same thing. So I was out there 2 years later, and then we weren't very good.
I wasn't going to get a scholarship. And then one day in the locker room after practice, I heard a coach of mine out there say something about Mount Union, this small school back in Ohio, and how, like a couple years prior to that, they had won a national championship. And I was like, I'm going there. So I trekked all the way back across the country, had my game film together, and I contacted Coach Woj. Told him, it's like, I don't know if you guys remember me, but, you know, I got a letter or two from you in high school. We never communicated. I just went to the JUCO route to get my grades up, and I want to come to Mount Union. He was like, okay. He's like, well, we'll schedule you a visit. You know, you can come on up here. And, you know, like with my teammates at the time, you know, like when we were here, we never discussed necessarily like how we got here. You know, most people come right out of high school, maybe transfers from other universities or, you know, even junior college like me. We had a alumni Zoom meeting earlier this year, me, Perk, and, you know, some old former teammates, some beers and Zoom. And at one point, one of the guys asked, like, hey, like, so-and-so, how'd you get here? You know, Pearson, how'd you get here? And then we all shared our stories about, you know, how we got to Mount Union, you know, 20 some odd years later. But at the time, we didn't even think about it, you know. And so I wanted to share the story about how I got here. And I can, you know, remember in '99, after we played Heidelberg, I scored 2 touchdowns in the first half. And I had already been here. This is my second season. And I remember in the film room on Monday or Tuesday of the following week, I was in there with Coach Monty, and he asked me, he's like, Jess, how'd you get here? You know, because it was like, here's this guy who's clearly playing great. And, you know, that was like my first year starting. So, you know, maybe he just didn't quite feel like he knew me as well as what he should. But saying that, you know, I've always been the type of person that, like, I'm only as strong or as weak as what my environment is. So my mom says that I soak everything up like a sponge. So if I'm in a bad environment, I'm going to do bad. If I'm in a good environment, I'm going to do well. If I'm in a great environment, I'm going to do great. And I knew that if I could just get here, that I was going to do great, and I was going to be able to be a part of something special. So saying that, you know, what Mount Union means to me, what it taught me, the hard work, the discipline, the commitment, everything, you know, what it means to truly devote yourselves to something. And this, there hasn't been a day since I've graduated that my experience here hasn't crossed my mind. So with saying that, I'd like to thank my parents, my family, Coach Montgomery, Coach Woj, Coach Karras, all the alumni, everybody else, congratulations on getting in. Thank you very much.
It is my pleasure now to recognize Jason Perkins for football. Jason is a 2001 graduate who was a 4-year letter winner in football. He led the team in tackles for loss, was an honorable mention OAC pick in the 2000 season. He led the team in tackles and caused fumbles in 2001, first team All-OAC, received the Bill Edwards Award as the OAC's most valuable linebacker, second team football Gazette All-American, third team D3 football All-American, and caught a 44-yard interception for a touchdown in the Stag Bowl versus Bridgewater, which was a Stag Bowl record at the time. Jason majored in computer information systems at Mount Union and then went on to earn his master's in business administration from Kent State University. He is currently an enterprise infrastructure manager for PNC Bank. He and his wife Jeanette reside in North Ridgeville, Ohio, with their children Isaac, Jacob, and Elizabeth. It is my honor to induct into the M Club Hall of Fame Jason Perkins.
Congratulations. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. More jewelry. That usually goes to my wife in my house, so I'm catching up to you, honey. So first off, I'd really like to congratulate all the other inductees. I'm really humbled to be here tonight with such a great class. Really humbled here to be here with Jesse. Jesse, I looked up to you as a player. Learned a lot from you, and I've told you this before. I think you set the gold standard for outside linebacker play at Mount, so just an honor to play with you. Coach Monty, you were like a father figure to all of us here. Again, it's a great honor for me to be with you here today. You were one of the architects of the Mount Union football program, as well as the wrestling program, and maybe we should thank your wife as well for the poetry to keep you going, whatever it takes to motivate. So I see where you get some of your tactics and skills from there. Another piece, I'm going to focus a little bit on football because I'm a bit biased, so, bear with me a little bit. But it's pretty awesome to see Harry Patis and then the late Joe Tate getting in with us as well today. Throughout the pandemic, my boys love Mount Union football as much as I do, and I think we were streaming a different Mount game every week. So they heard your voice a lot, Harry, and they heard, Joe Tate as well. I'm looking forward to the book that's coming out here in a few weeks. And I think everybody's really looking forward to the autobiography that maybe you'll hook up with Coach Karras on. I think that would be an awesome opportunity for all of us. First off, I really want to thank all of my family and friends that came here, and also those that have supported me. Coaches, really this night really is not about me. It's about everybody that helped me get this honor. So I want to make sure I thank all of you. Playing at Mount Union to me, it's been a dream come true. Coach Karras took a chance on me and gave me a shot on defense after busting my butt on special teams for a couple years. And similar to your story, Coach Monty, where you had some challenging times and you thought about quitting, I think in our era, it went through everybody's head. Most guys weren't starting as freshmen. This place definitely tests your intestinal fortitude, and it forces you to grow up pretty quick. Coach Svelbar, I think you're back there. I couldn't leave you out. I wanted to thank you for all the tough love as the linebacker coach here, especially for my first couple years as an OLB. I still remember your quote that there's no free lunch at Mount Union. You have to earn everything that you get here. Boy, that's true. I still do have nightmares of you throwing your cane at practice and me dodging that thing. And I think you said a couple times if I could dodge that cane, I might be able to elude a few blockers and make some plays. So I did my best. Coach Gulish and Coach Smith, my high school coaches at Firelands High School, thanks for coming tonight. Without you guys, your encouragement, your motivation for me in high school at tiny Firelands High School, I wouldn't have made the journey here to Mount Union. I really appreciate, what you guys did and all the hard work that you guys did in the off season. I also really, one of my biggest memories and most fond memories that I have from high school and really throughout football is beating Elyria West my senior year. They were a state power. They hadn't lost a game in 5 years. I look very fondly upon that, so thank you guys. Josh Hammond, Big Josh. Not too often do guys get to play with their best friend from high school and get to play with their best friend in college. I really, look forward to many more years of us sharing these old stories and, how the older we get, the better we were. But we had a lot of fun playing football here, working out. Boy, do we work out hard. And I can still hear your grandparents yelling at you, like, why are you guys lifting weights again? Why are you guys out running again? But we had a lot of fun, and we won some championships together. So thanks for all the encouragement and motivation. I appreciate it. My brother Jeff's here tonight. He's almost 15 years older than me. I think everybody, when they were a little kid, they wanted to have an older brother like Jeff. He was a really good football player. He was winning powerlifting meets at the time. At one time in his early to mid-20s, he was one of the best rugby players in the Midwest. I idolized you as a kid. I really wanted to be like you. I've played over 100 football games in my life, and I can count on one hand how many games my brothers missed. That's from junior high, high school, college. You had young kids at the time. Chad and Allie were 3, 4 years old. You didn't miss a game. Thank you. I never forgot that. I love you. My sister Charlie, probably the best all-around athlete in our family. She came down tonight, and I want to make sure that I show my appreciation for you. You were my older sister, my big sister. You were almost like a mother to me at times. You know, Mom and Dad were busy. My mom was a working mother. So my sister Charlie stepped in. She was always keeping an eye on me. I was tagging along with her when she had a family as well. Don't forget, or don't think that I ever forgot about all the practices you took me to, all the weightliftings, all of the the games, the baseball games. You took my friends. Thanks for the sacrifice. I appreciate it. I want to give a big shout out to my wife Jeanette, who was a cheerleader here at Mount. So we got the Mount connection going. It's never too difficult to get us to donate. I don't have to convince her. She's a Mount alum. She was a cheerleader here. But one thing I will say, our football program is so strong at Mount Union that my wife, who was a cheerleader, now she's coaching football. And she's one of the best coaches in our area. And she rubs it in. They were undefeated for a little while, so I had to deal with that at home. But it caused a little tension, but we've gotten through it. But you were my biggest fan, even when I wasn't playing a whole lot here. It's a tough time at Mount when you're trying to find yourself and find how you fit in. Your wisecracks about being just a special teams only player, those did help motivate me. So thank you. Last but not least, I really want to thank my parents. You guys are amazing. Without you two, all the success that I think I've had, it wouldn't be here. I think the structure of having a good mom and a good dad is really important to how people develop. My dad was a guy that did every repair around the house. He never missed a day of work, never missed any of my games. He believed in tough love, and he taught me to stand on my own 2 feet. There were times where maybe I wasn't getting enough playing time. I didn't get an award that maybe I thought I deserved. My dad and I, we'd have conversations, and he would say, well, you might be right. Maybe you should be playing more, or maybe you should be all conference or whatever. But my dad said, that's life. You got to learn that life isn't fair from a young age. And I can't go in and complain to the coaches or complain to whoever it is that's doing all this. You got to learn to be a man. You got to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. And my dad is a man of immense character, goodwill, and very disciplined. And I want to thank you, Dad, for everything. You're the man. I also want to make sure I thank my mom, who is probably the toughest and most disciplined person I know. I could swear in a previous life you were either Woody Hayes or General Patton. And anybody that knows my mom know that she is, I'll say it, she's a badass. And you do not want to mess with her. But tough love, I think maybe that should have been your middle name. But really, Mom, you're definitely the rock of our family and our success. You're the only person I know that works as hard as my dad. And I think as I became a parent and had children, I couldn't believe some of the things that you did to help make me successful. My mom would get up before work to make sure that I was always fed, whether I was in high school, college. All the laundry was done. Meanwhile, she's working 40 or 50 hours a week, giving me pep talks on how I'm eating like a cheerleader. I need to eat like a football player. But you're very supportive, and that's the one thing about both my parents. They were very encouraging, but they never tried to live their dreams through me. They pushed me and encouraged me, but they never pushed me too much to burn me out. With your support and motivation, Mom, I think I really didn't have an option but to be successful. So thank you. I love you, Mom. Once again, I want to thank all the inductees for being part of this great class. I'm honored to be entering into the 2021 Mount Union M Club Hall of Fame. I really want to thank everybody once more. And again, the thing that excited me most about tonight was was I was going to be able to thank all of you that helped me get where I'm at. Thanks again.
At this time, it is my honor to present 3 Elite M Club Awards: the Duke Barrett Award of Excellence, the Hugh J. Award, and Honorary M Club Award. The Duke Barrett Award of Excellence shall be presented to a member of M Club in recognition for career experiences or activities that have brought honor and recognition to the individual and, in turn, Mount Union. This award is the highest honor outside of selection for the M Club Hall of Fame that M Club may bestow upon an individual member. Duke Barrett was a 1951 graduate of Mount Union and former football head coach. Duke was a true Purple Raider and devout supporter of M Club and our athletic programs. He chaired the Hall of Fame selection committee for many years and was very passionate about the process. He developed the motto by which the Hall of Fame stands. It's only fitting that this award is named after him to symbolize all that Duke brought to M Club and Mount Union. This year's award goes to Nick Cirianni. Nick, a 2003 graduate and physical education major, is a native of Jamestown, New York, and graduate of Southwestern High School. He was a 4-year letter winner as a receiver of the Mount Union football team. After graduation, he joined the Purple Raider coaching staff and went on to Indiana, PA, before embarking on an NFL coaching career with the Kansas City Chiefs in 2009. After 3 years in Kansas City, he went on to assistant coaching stops in San Diego and Indianapolis before landing his head coaching job with the Philadelphia Eagles earlier this year. Please join me in congratulating Nick on this award. Unfortunately, Nick was unable to attend the ceremony this evening, but sent along a message to share with everyone.
Hey, Mount Union, I just want to thank you for this award. I'm so proud to be a Mount Union alumni and just really appreciative. My favorite memory playing at Mount Union, definitely my senior year, 2003, playing against Baldwin Wallace at home. I think it was the second game of the year. We were number 1 in the country and they were number 3. And I just remember how many people were at that game, how many supporters of Mount Union football. And just the atmosphere there was just electric. We ended up winning 24-0, and it was just a great experience. And I'll always remember that playing at Mount Union. Mount Union prepared me for coaching. It's like I went to school at Mount Union to get this degree in education, and I felt like I came away in a doctorate of football coaching because I was around the best ever to do it in Coach Karras. And so just being around him every day for I was 7 years, not all as a player. I graduated in 4.5, but then being able to coach there for 2 extra years after I got done playing there and going to school there, it just felt like I was around the best every single day. And when you're around a great coach like that, you have no choice but to groom yourself into being a good coach just because of who you've been around.
The Hugh J. Award was established in 2015 to recognize M Club members who have distinguished themselves in service to M Club. Hugh was a true Purple Raider who led the M Club beside his friends for many years. Our success as a varsity athletic association can be attributed to his leadership and undying commitment to Mount Union athletics. His passion and love for Mount Union is what we hope to reflect in this award. Now being given by the M Club every year in his honor. This year's award goes to Bruce Hickson. Bruce is a soccer letter winner graduating in 1970 with a Bachelor's of Art degree in history. Bruce served as vice president of M Club from 2014 to 2015 and president from 2016 to 2020. He implemented the M Club's Nation's Best Award for Mount Union athletes who led the nation in statistical category, implemented the placement of the M Club banners in our athletic venues to increase M Club visibility, and worked to increase participation in M Club. Bruce retired from Smith Systems Incorporated as a regional sales manager. In addition to M Club, Bruce has served as a Red Cross volunteer and serves as a worship leader and licensed lay preacher in the Episcopal Diocese of Ohio. Bruce and his wife Judy have a son, Drew, and currently reside in Uniontown, Ohio. Please join me in congratulating Bruce Hickson.
That picture is proof that once in the distance past, I actually had hair. In the years that I've been associated with M Club, I've had the privilege of being up here on the stage handing out these awards. And one thing that I've heard constantly is that we have all been blessed by our association with the University of Mount Union. Now I have a list of people to thank because you can't do this job alone. But I wanted to start out with just a phrase that you would hear often in the Episcopal Church, and that is, thanks be to God. And thanks be to my wife, Judy, for putting up with me for over 50 years. It's said when you start thanking people, you're walking on thin ice because you're bound to leave somebody out. So let me apologize in advance to anybody I might leave out, but there are those that I must thank. First, the induction committee for honoring me with this award. Past President Bob Atkinson, whom I served with as vice president from 2014 through 2015. Corey Unkrich, who served beside me as vice president from 2016 to 2020. And Tiffany Hoja, who first convinced me to run for vice president. I'd like to thank Greg King for greatly improving our fundraising efforts. Larry Karras for his advice and encouragement. Our current president, Paul Cotton, for taking on the job. And coaches Mike Fueline, Susie Vennett, Kelly Clark, Carter Poe, and Vince Karras for their outstanding support of M Club events and activities. Thank you to all the members of our board whose efforts and regular attendance are of such a great value, especially Bob Bucks, Dave Wolpert, Rosa LaMattina, Don Montgomery, Vince Obman, Paul Olio, Matt Parnell, and Paul Thomas. Finally, I must thank the hardest working people that I have ever had the pleasure to work beside. The staff, present and past, of our alumni office, especially Audrey Youngen, Michelle Banis, Tiffany Hoja, and Ann Graffis. While I was thinking about my remarks for this evening, it occurred to me that many of you might really not know what M Club does, besides the annual Hall of Fame induction. Working closely with our athletic compliance officer and the athletic director, M Club supplies support for equipment and activities that may be beyond a team's current budget. For example, we've purchased shoot-around machines for basketball, weights for the Gulling Center, soccer goals, team warm-ups. We've provided team travel expenses and sponsored tournaments. And that's just a few of the things that M Club does. For many years after graduation, I didn't realize M Club even existed, that it was actually a functioning alumni organization. But about 10 years ago, I wanted to get more closely involved with the university, so I decided to check into it more closely and attended my first meeting. I've never regretted that decision, and it's been my privilege to spend 6 of those years as either vice president or president of the M Club. Whatever I might have contributed to M Club has given much more to me. It has provided me a way to serve the university I love, allowed me to meet and work with talented and dedicated administrators and coaches and alumni. And most importantly, it's made possible friendships that I never would have had. One of the biggest challenges has always been recruiting M Club members willing to serve on our board. If you're a letter winner, you're already an M Club member. That's automatic when you win that letter. But I would urge you to become an active member. You will not regret it. Again, thank you, and go Raiders.
The Honorary M Club Member Award represents the highest honor to which may be bestowed upon an individual who is not a member of M Club. This award is given to an individual who may or may not have graduated from Mount Union, but through their efforts have given exemplary service to support the Mount Union athletics. This award gives the individual all the rights and privileges that are bestowed upon a Mount Union Athletic Award winner. This year's award goes to 3 deserving recipients. Our first honorary M Club member is the late Dan Gorman. Dan was the head athletic trainer at Mount Union from 1985 until his death in 2011. He spearheaded the growth of the athletic training major at the university while caring for countless student athletes through the athletic department. Earlier this year, the university posthumously awarded him an honorary doctorate in humane letters. The Gorman family wasn't able to attend this evening, but has passed along this message to share. We are so appreciative of this award. We truly are honored that Dan is receiving an honorary M Club award. Please accept our gratitude, and we sincerely apologize for not being able to attend this evening. Dan Gorman. Next, it is my honor to award Harry Patis honorary M Club membership. Harry has a number of significant accomplishments over the years. He has been inducted into the Trumbull County Sports Hall of Fame, Warren City Schools Alumni Hall of Fame, received the Bill Nichols OAC Media Award, Distinguished Media Award for Broadcasting Excellence, Ohio High School Athletic Association, Media Award of Excellence from the Northeastern Buckeye Conference, was selected as Alliance Citizen of the Year in 2009, President of the Board, Alliance City Parks, past President of the Board, Alliance Chamber of Commerce, past Chairman of the Board, Stark County Canon Convention and Visitors Bureau, past Chairman of the Board, Alliance Area United Way, At Mount Union, Harry was Chief Public Relations Officer for 25 years, Chair of the Department of Communications, and faculty member for 6 years, Director of the Regular Center for Public Service for 3 years, and creator of Macaw. Harry is a 1974 graduate of Mount Union. He received a Bachelor's of Arts in English and Education and his Master's in Science in Journalism from Northwestern University. He retired from Mount Union after 33 years as a Mount Union administrator and faculty member. He and his wife, Kathy, reside in Alliance, Ohio. They have 3 sons, Peter and his wife, Ashley, Steve, and Matthew. He has 2 grandchildren, Jack and Vivian. Please join me in congratulating Harry Patis.
Well, good evening, and I'm well aware of the time, and the next to the last speaker, so I've timed this out, and even though I'm going to tell you some stories, it won't be endless, trust me. Thank you for the honorary membership into the M Club Hall of Fame, and congratulations to all the other inductees that we've heard from this evening. First, I'd like to recognize my wife, Kathy, for her support during the more than 1,000 Friday nights and more than 500 Saturday afternoons and evenings when I was in the press box describing the action of athletes who were more gifted than I was. Kathy and I met at Mount Union in the early 70s. By the way, Coach Fisher, she was one of the co-eds that I was chasing. And we've been married for 45 years. I have a quick story about each of the coaches who have been here tonight, because I've intersected with all of them, having been at Mount Union most of my life. First Coach Fisher, Gary Fisher. My very first broadcast was historic in a way. It was in 1971. I was WRMU, 91.1 FM, here at Mount Union, and it was the first basketball game ever played in the new Timken Physical Education building. We had tartan surface back then, for those of you that might remember that. It wasn't a wooden floor. It was this modern tartan surface that all basketball arenas would have in the near future. Well, we were one of about 5, I think, and it kind of didn't work very well, and a lot of bad knees were the result of that tartan surface. But nonetheless, I was broadcasting that game, and the head coach of the Purple Raiders was Gary Fisher. Now, I remember doing my research prior to that game and coming across the fact that as a player, Coach Fisher held the career record for having committed the most personal fouls as a Purple Raider. And it was a badge that he wore admirably throughout his career, I might add. Then there's Kathy Lavry. You know, Kathy was ahead of her time, coaching both men's and women's swim teams here at Mount. What people might not know about Kathy is that she gave, she was the coach at Mount, but she gave swim lessons to about everybody in the community, because basically she gave them for free and was very much an ambassador for swimming, and whether it was recreationally or competitively. And, of course, the story that everybody knows about Kathy is her ability to jump into a pool with her clothes on after a big win. So that was another little tidbit about one of our coaches in the Hall of Fame tonight. Then there's Deanne Knoblock. In those days, we administrators and faculty members would play pickup basketball games at noon. And when Dee was coaching, she would occasionally set aside a time to actually play with us. As was the case with pickup games, I was always assigned to the worst player on the other team because of my ability. So when Dee first showed up, I was told, "You guard the girl." That was typical of our times, at that time. So, but what everybody learned rather quickly was Dee was not too far removed from having been a point guard, all MAC point guard for Bowling Green, and she proceeded to light up everybody in that pickup game. And guess what? I never had to guard her again. It was great. And then there's Don Montgomery, good old Monty, deservedly receiving a lot of accolades here of late, and especially tonight from his former players. Let me add one more accolade to the list. He was the third base coach for my 8, 9, and 10-year-old Elks 467 Hot Stove League baseball team. Monty was the third base coach. He had the same intensity coaching third base as he did the Purple Raiders defensive coordinator, head wrestling coach, etc. So one game, as his son Joey, and Joey's here tonight, he'll remember this, was rounding third base, Monty was frantically waving him home, running down the baseline with him, and when Joey was thrown out at the plate, Monty whipped off his sunglasses, crushed them in one-handed, and threw them into the woods. The kids were like mortified. Yeah. But that was Monty. And then he proceeded to give them some kind of a pep talk after the game, and they were all fine. Anyway, now let's fast forward quickly to 1985 and our first televised football game here at Mount Union. I had come back to Mount to work in the PR office in 1983, and I had made connections with a number of people in my previous job with the Mid-American Conference, and there were people who were interested in televising a couple of the football games. I felt that to legitimize the telecast, we should try to entice a big-time announcer. I had met Joe Tate once in passing at a high school basketball game, and I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a try. I'll try to get his number and give him a call. And to my complete surprise, he said yes. And now remember, that was 1985. We beat Wittenberg and Baldwin Wallace in back-to-back games on television that year, and he was hooked. And I remember him saying, let me know anytime you need me. Well, it turns out that he did 100 broadcasts, this just a couple more than 100 broadcasts after that game. And he and I made trips to Wisconsin, Missouri, Virginia, and points in between. Now, we're talking about Joe Tate. I mean, he was the voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's a Hall of Famer. And here he was taking the time to do these games for Mount Union. We'll always be indebted to him as a college and university. And I know I lost a good friend. But anyway, having been at Mount Union for more than 35 years, there's many people to whom I owe a debt of gratitude. Several are right here in this room. Larry Karras, for example, Lenny Reich, our sports information director, Tom Boatsman, our president, and, of course, Audra Youngin, who is our alumni director. But I don't think I would be up here tonight had I not met Joe Tate and been able to spread the good word about Mount Union and having him spread the good word about Mount Union on a national level. I really do miss him. And I want to thank his daughter, Karen, for being here tonight. Again, thanks for this honor. It means a lot. And good night, everybody.
Our final Honorary M Club Award recipient is the late Joe Tate. Joe spent 39 seasons as the radio voice of the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers and is in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He and Harry Paytas spent 30 seasons together on television, broadcasting Mount Union football games. From the Raiders' first OAC title in 1985 to the program's 12th national title in 2015, the duo described all the action to the fans, not only here in northeastern Ohio, but around the country. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Joe's daughter, Karen Tate.
Well, sorry, I'm going to be turning into a blubbering idiot because that's what I do. Dad was never one for the long-winded speeches, so I plan on really following in his footsteps. College ball was always a great love of his from his days at Monmouth College. He always just loved the excitement of the kids just playing their hearts out, which is why even after he retired from the NBA, he just wanted to stay with Mount Union. He just kept doing the games. I was talking to some of the players and recipients today, and when the Cavs won their championship, he didn't want the ring. But the Mount Union championship ring was something that he kept, and it was a prized possession, which I thankfully have. Oh, sorry. And when he retired, oh, that's great. When he retired fully, he made me teach him how to use my tablet, right? Thanks. He was very old school, right? And you can imagine the tutorials I had to do with him, trying to teach him, you tap the screen, you don't push the button, so that he could get updates on what Mount Union was doing. He hated technology, but he was addicted to Mount Union. So thank you for this. He would be really, really thrilled.
I'd like to take a minute now to congratulate all of our inductees and our award recipients. In the lobby of the McPherson Academic and Athletic Complex and the Don and Karen Capers Football Coaching Center are the M Club Hall of Fame touchscreen kiosks, much like what you'll see at the Pro Football or Pro Baseball Hall of Fames, which showcase Mount Union's Hall of Fame recipients and championships. While you are on campus this weekend, I encourage you to make your way to either location and take a look. Next to the kiosk in the MAC is a plaque inscribed with the following. The M Club Hall of Fame honors and memorializes those individuals or teams who have made outstanding contributions to Mount Union athletics and who have helped bring recognition, honor, excellence, and distinction to the institution and its intercollegiate athletic programs. Entrance into the Hall of Fame requires that the record and character of the athlete be so outstanding that there is no question as to his or her qualification. This concludes our induction ceremony, but before you leave, I have a few announcements. M Club is not possible without the generous financial support of its members. I want to personally thank those here tonight who have contributed and encourage all of you to contribute to M Club athletics through the Mount Union Fund. Donations can be made by personal checks or online at giving.mountunion.edu. As we come together today to celebrate our M Club inductees, I would like to share how this week has been quite special for Raider athletics. This past week, we launched our second annual virtual stadium sellout in an effort to raise $60,000 in support of M Club and our athletic programs. Our week-long campaign officially closed at 1:30 today, and many thanks to those who showed their support as we surpassed our goal and raised over $62,000. We could not have done this without all of you. I would like to encourage those of you who are M Club members to nominate an outstanding athlete, coach, or athletic supporter for the class of 2022. More information about the nomination process can be found on the back of your program. On behalf of Mount Union, the M Club, and Raider Athletics, thank you all for attending tonight's ceremony, and have a great night.